words of, if you were going to go to a nude beach or whatever, it's like you see the nakedness of people. It's just like an analogy. It's just like it's an analogy of what's going on inside. It manifests in a physical form. That's everything that's been going on. Everything that's going on inside is like manifest.
That's very cool.
Reality.
Just it's okay.
No, it is cool. Yeah, but it's like it's magical and it's cool, and I'm.
But what's the but?
There's no buts.
Oh.
I just like the conversation with Bina.
Yeah.
I didn't really fully understand. Like, she was going through the astrological stuff, and I'm aware that I do this. When things are really deep and I'm processing, I'll just kind of like go along with the conversation, but that's not really where I'm at.
Yeah.
I do that too, because the other day you said you want to be an influencer and you want to be influenced. Well, I don't really want to be influenced. I want to be influenced by certain people. Like when you said that, I thought, well, by, sharing of collaborating and sharing with you and Bina and a few other people. But that's what why I said yes. But anyway, I don't always take the time to explain where I'm at so people could perceive differently. But like with Bina, she started with the astrological and just, I know she didn't go into great detail, but it was like, the absence of my mom and not having the relationship, and bam, I just went to my oldest daughter, how that's manifested as her not being connected to her kids. Not being connected to my mom, and it's manifesting in so then the second one was, just conventional things and being trapped in I want a partnership, or I want to get married like 2 years ago and have the house and the kid and the fence, and how that's just totally shifted. But being still hooked into the romance part of love and those kinds of things, and that's an addiction. And then bam, that went to manifesting physically with the addictions that my son had, and then the whole thing with Paige and her relationship with her boyfriend, and just so sometimes it's like stepping back and seeing that both positive and things that are still somewhat like you don't really want to see in other people experiencing them. Like, why would I want my daughter, my son, and my youngest to experience the things that are not pleasurable for them? And I feel like those were my things, and they're physically manifesting in their world. I want their world to be joyful and happy. And so that part of seeing the projection into other people's lives, it's like trying to make sure I shift that and look at it from a more positive perspective. I'm still like I literally have to like step back where a lot of the other stuff, what's that?
Overview perspective.
Right. Where the other stuff, the overview perspective is just immediately there. So there's still some things that the overview isn't immediately there. I literally have to step myself back still a little bit. But I mean, that's okay. I'm good with that.
Donna, so when I was about to say sure, but I was saying not sure that we were talking to, but sure the singer, and I was picturing you and that sure merged together.
Why is that?
I don't know. Just I don't know if you've ever seen videos of young Cher, when she started. She was like you, just a really magical person. I mean, it just irritated the crap out of me when I see her with that nincompoop that she was with. I just want to go and smack him, when those videos, right? The early ones with Sunny and Cher. I just want to go and smack him. I don't know. Just like, fuck off, It's like, this is so inappropriate. And her goodness and her innocence that she was with him. You know what I mean? Just the inappropriate application of her own goodness. Anyway. It just something that crossed right there. Just very quick little brief flash. But anyway, I just love that young Cher, so and I see a lot of it in you. So yeah. same. A lot of it there. But you're now more sophisticated. You don't have that innocence and naivety that she had then. Yeah. Anyway, right, sure. I mean, right, Donna?
I like to think so.
Yeah, yeah. No, for sure. All right. So here's something very important to consider. You're focusing on this, that you are seeing your past manifest in your friends, your children, people you know, etc. Right?
Well, I would
At least
say
some of it.
to be, yeah,
Take
to
it.
keep it in perspective, it's pretty minuscule, but some
Yeah,
of it. And then
yeah.
I'm seeing a lot of
Right.
really positive thoughts and where I'm at also.
Why? This is my point that I wanted to make. I was just saying it more as a general thing. But just
Yeah.
okay. Let's just say, just for argument's sake, okay, you see some of the negative. Here's the key point, though. As you progress, as you shift, as you change, know that there is somewhat of a delay gap between where you are at and what's coming behind you. Right? So what you're experiencing now, in other words, is it's in some point in the future going to be manifested in your children.
Oh, yay.
Do you see what I'm getting at? So every single thing you do now, it takes on a whole different significance because you've already seen the pattern that what is in your life, yes, okay, not exactly, obviously, but in some way comes through in your children and in your close people and in friends and so on. But know this, that you are, there's just when you understand that you in the forefront of it, and there's a bit of a time delay between what they're experiencing. Know too that what they are experiencing now is not going to obviously last forever. They're going to move out of it, and they are going to get to where you are at now in the future.
That's a
And
guarantee.
oh, absolutely. Oh, absolutely. Oh, absolutely a guarantee. Absolutely. Why? Because it is you that are the determining factor. Tell me how you do not intend this.
Oh, I intend it.
Exactly. You intend the best for your children. You also know your soul, which has that ruthless side to it, which doesn't care about the trivialities. Your soul says, hey, those experiences, even though they might have been somewhat unpleasant, they were profoundly necessary for your development and your growth and your evolution. Yes?
Oh, yeah.
So, how can you deny that to your children?
Oh, that won't happen. I just didn't know it like rippled. Well, yeah, I guess I did. I did know
Do you
that.
see my point? It's
Yes.
there's your intent to say this was
Intent.
valuable. You are now getting the valuable, and you are going to keep on getting the valuable. And there's this time delay, which is why I'm saying is indisputable that they are going to get the positive. Why? Because of your intent. You aren't intending a negative experience for them. No, it might be unpleasant, but it's still good in the overall overview perspective. Is it a profoundly valuable experience, whether it's
Right.
pleasant or not? It's valuable. This is what you intend for them, what is valuable and useful, not necessarily what is pleasant or unpleasant, or positive, negative. We don't care. We care about value and usefulness, and this is what you're intending. Yes.
Yep.
I like the way you take those off. uh, I enjoy simple things sometimes, just like when women take their earrings off, when they do their hair, simple things. I don't know. It gives me joy. Simple things. But anyway, but you see my point, Donna. You know, the from the wave impeccability perspective, right? How everything makes sense. It makes sense in the context of the entire universe being a mechanism geared towards the development and enhancement of awareness. Yes?
Right.
All right. Now, there's a bit more to that. It's not mentioned in the modules. There's kind of a little tweak on there. Yes, it is about awareness, but it also is about getting us to a very particular awareness.
Right.
There's one particular awareness, which is the one awareness that changes absolutely everything. And that is the awareness, not the understanding. The awareness, which is different, which means we actually know it as a fact. It is the awareness that the world is a description. Right? So if we see the entire universe is not only geared towards doing everything that happens, every person, every interaction, every relationship is there for our benefit in terms of awareness. It is also there for our benefit to become aware that the world is a description. And
For sure.
you and we are the ones doing the describing. Look at how potent it is in your particular case. When you look at your kids, your family, your friends, you're seeing it's like, but wait the fuck, how can this be? Oh, the world is a description. This is my description of the world. And yeah, you see, now it starts to make sense. Yeah?
Yes.
It's part of stopping the world. It collapsing this physical description to see energy directly. Yes, we can reconstitute this world and uncollapse it and restart it as it were. But part of that is to understand that the world is a description, so that we can turn off that description. See? And restart it. Maybe tweak it a little bit if we want to or not. I don't know. Maybe we don't want to take on that responsibility because it can get complicated, right? Unintended consequences and so on. But it's irrelevant. It doesn't matter. That's a matter for then. The key is to understand that stopping the world, silencing the internal dialogue, it is about switching off the description. Yeah? Make sense?
Yeah. Yes, it does.
And you are a profound, for me, it's exceedingly valuable and useful because I see how the world is a description from looking at it from this outside overview perspective at you and your story and how you're seeing it in your children and in the people around you and all this. I see how this description mechanism is working. It's very difficult to see it through, how it's applying in my life, because it's always too close for us to see. But when I see it in you, I say, wow, I see this description thing so clearly. And just in others around me, I don't always see it in myself, but I see it in you very profoundly, very simply, very easy. It's very, 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 very magical for me to see that. Big deal, big deal, huge deal, right, Donna?
It is a huge deal. It's a
Right.
huge responsibility.
Yeah, but also if you look at your intent, you have a profound, deep intent to goodness. Yes?
I must.
Yeah, not you must, you have. I mean, it's like, duh. So when you look at all the things, the experiences that your children and them, what they experiencing, it is what is valuable and useful and good for them. Not necessarily nice, but those three, good, useful, and valuable. And that's a very different intent. And that makes sense of every single thing. You are describing a world in which you are bringing this profound goodness and sensibility and usefulness and value, not just to yourself, but to others. So when we realize that we are actually the describers, at the same token, we realize, oh my God, you know what? I'm actually this ridiculous genius. All of us. When you really look at all of this in the context and you say, wow, when you start looking at the implications, you really have to see that, oh my goodness, wow, holy hell. I have so much sensibility, so much layeredness, so much nuance. I have multiple things going on. It's not just good in this sense, it's in that. And all of this is, whoa, we get a little bit overwhelmed by the moreness of us, yes? We are gods in training, Donna. We are gods in training. How does it not make sense? Yeah? To me, to see it that that's what the deal is, it just makes sense of everything. Yeah? When we start to see, whoa, we are gods in training. Now, from a biblical point of view, does that not make sense as well? Since you've been going to church lately, which I love, I thought it was very great, by the way.
It
Really
was
huge.
interesting, for
Yeah.
sure.
The fact that you can, that you found joy and value out of it, that you saw it, that you had that the perspective, and look, this is huge. The ability to do so, you know, it's profound.
It was pretty big.
Yeah, it's profound because of the ability that you now were there as a matter of choice, as a matter of discernment, as a matter of you exercising your perspective. You extracted value
Mm-hmm.
regardless of whether there was inherent value or not. You extracted that moreness. Yes?
Right.
How huge is that? Who is in charge going to church?
Me.
There you go. See what I mean?
Mhm.
Spirit
Yeah.
warrior is always in charge. It's very huge, Donna. It's very huge. Very, very huge. But if you take it from a pure church point of view, a religion, a Bible point of view, first of all, there's that line in the Old Testament. When you ask people why were Adam and Eve kicked out of the Garden of Eden, I think we've had this discussion before. Nobody
Yeah.
knows, right? And it's that line, lest they eat from the tree of life and become one of us and live forever. A direct statement that says the only real difference, right, essentially, between the gods and become one of us, gods plural, is eating from the tree of life. It's just immortality, really. It's the only difference. Because we already ate from the tree of knowledge of good and evil. So which the fruit of that, right? The knowledge of good and evil. If you say, what's the consequence of that? The fruit, in other words, it's awareness, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
And isn't that the whole story? When they ate from it, they had awareness. They, covered themselves up on all of this, right? So we have awareness plus immortality eats. I mean, that's from the tree of life. You eat the fruit of that would be immortality, correct?
Mm-hmm.
So very simple, very, very clear, very simple. Now, take Jesus again. What did he say? He said, we are all sons of man, sons of God.
God. Right.
Right. He said, we're all sons of God, not just me, all of us. And he made no distinction. He was trying to say, you all can do what I'm doing. So to him,
Yeah.
we were all do these miracles. He was constantly trying to get everybody to do what he was doing. In other words, again, God's in training, right? Powerful, right? Powerful, powerful. Same thing with Buddha, by the way. No different.
Mm.
I mean, but again, Buddha is a title,
Right.
you know. So, and his objective, everything that he did, every single thing, and not just by implication in the way it was with Jesus, every single thing directly and overtly is him trying to say, this is how you get to be a Buddha. All of you, this is the point and purpose of Buddhism, is to become a Buddha, which is God in training. Remember, I told you I always laugh when I see the thing about walking on water, because in there's a really profound book called Buddhist Scriptures, written by compiled by a guy called Christmas Humphreys. Fascinating character, Christmas Humphreys. Anyway, wrote many magical books on Buddhism, and he's like probably one of the most foremost authorities on Buddhism. He even made up like a list of like I think 12 or 14 or whatever, and twice he did this common elements between Buddhism, in which he got every single Buddhist sect and separate value, because there's a whole in Western religion, there's the whole range of different types of Buddhism. He got them all to agree that these were the common precepts or common principles of Buddhism. I thought that's something extraordinary. I mean, no such thing exists for Islam or for Christianity or even the various forms of Judaism. They don't all agree and say this. I have a list of common points which you say, okay, this represents Christianity, this represents Islam, it's only Buddhism that has it, as far as I know. Isn't that pretty amazing? Anyway,
The pillars, the 4 pillars of Buddhism?
No. These were like basic precepts, not the things of
Precept.
like the Four Noble Concepts. Not those. No, but those are one of it. Those are like, okay, yes, we all agree that the Four Noble Truths and the Noble Eightfold Path, those are core to Buddhism. But other things like Buddhism is about I don't know, non-violence or whatever, stuff like that. Just 12 general ones. It's really magical what he did, just what they stand for as Buddhism as a whole. So what they commonly agree on. But anyway, the point I wanted to make is that, so you made this book called Buddhist Scriptures, and in the Buddhist Scriptures, there's a little lists. They love lists. They got the whole book is pretty much a whole bunch of lists. So one of the lists were the lesser powers of, I forget what a seeker maybe, or an aspirant or somebody trying to become a Buddha. But anyway, a lesser powers of a I don't know, a master or something. So this is a list of the lesser powers on your way to becoming a Buddha, and a couple of them that I remember were the lesser powers. Note well, lesser powers: the all-seeing ear and the all-seeing eye and the all-hearing ear. Lesser powers. Included in the lesser powers was walking on water. I just find it very amusing when we're talking in this context. You see, my connectivity is being God's in training. For the Buddhists, they took these things as being kind of irrelevant and trivial. They didn't really mean anything because they don't really get you anywhere or do anything for you. All right, big deal. You got some powers, but you're not a Buddha yet. You're not in the allness of everything. You're still dabbling in the physical reality where shit like this is important. Yeah,
Hmm.
interesting. Yes.
It is.
Yeah. What's troubling you, Donna? Seems like something is kind of still not fluid with you in some way. Bothersome.
Mm,
No? Work, everything good? Boss is okay? Friends? Steve? Implications? Family?
everybody's good.
But
Floating along. I would like a perspective. I didn't fully understand with the capital U. Venus,
understanding?
yeah, Venus astrological in the bigger picture of things. Um, it wasn't offered for, as you know, I'm just talking out loud, the perceived astrological reading. It was abstract. Although when she was offering the information, it was very specific to the old
Yeah.
story, and it just equated to the planets.
Interesting.
So,
Yeah, yeah.
like when she was doing the reading, she's aware. I mean, I've shared the stories and they're recorded, and she listens to all the recordings or a lot of them, from my understanding from
I don't
her.
know. I don't know if she does or not. That's interesting to me. I didn't know that she listens to a
I
lot of
think
them.
I
Occasionally?
feel like she does.
Oh,
I could
interesting.
be
Okay.
wrong.
Yeah.
I could be wrong.
Good. All right.
But anyway, so my point is, I do know that she knows,
Some of his
things
story.
about
Right.
things,
Right.
yeah,
Right. Right.
mom and blah blah
Right.
blah. They
Right.
came out in the reading, and then she got to a point where she was like, "I'd like to help you, Donna," and she was like, I felt her suffering and her pain, and she said
Interesting.
she got to a situation where it came to something in the past, and there was like a physical situation, and it had to do with also uh, somebody's physical invasion of my physical being, and that
Right.
it created leaks in my energetic. Remember, I asked you about that energy and if it could do that?
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's
Yeah.
what she said. And then she said she wanted to help. And then I felt pain, but it wasn't connected to anything. And she said it had something to do with somebody, like, do I remember something with somebody covering my ears and it being situations that were, painful and suffering. Anyway, I didn't remember anything like that. But the pain I felt when she was going over the points that she was making in the reading, it it wasn't because it was connecting to my past. It was because I felt her pain.
Interesting. Interesting. That's fascinating. That's really fascinating. She mentioned something about she felt a very uncomfortable sensation in her ankles. Uh,
Right.
and that has nothing for you? Ankles, nothing at all?
The only thing, no, not a particular situation. I have challenging time with my ankles and my feet. When I do jazzercise, they've been, my veins pop and they get real painful.
Oh, maybe that's what she was feeling then. Interesting. Now,
I
here's the
don't know.
thing I wanted to say with Bina. This is very fascinating that you strongly felt that some of it was connected in some way to Bina, that there was this cross connectivity, so that if you take her reading, it's kind of some of it is for you and some of it is for her.
I
Yeah.
don't know, but I
But
don't know.
that's the sense, that's the feeling that you're getting, the
Wait,
sense of it.
I'm trying to just give me a second.
Sure.
On the feet too, that came into play at work. We had a client that had diabetes and she's going to have both of her feet removed at the ankle.
Wow.
And so that was kind of weird because my
That
boss
is
kept
weird. I never
wanting
heard
to,
of that.
I know. I guess it was so the diabetes got so bad that her feet got black. I don't know much about the disease of diabetes,
Wow. Me neither.
but
I've
my boss
never heard
kept
of it.
wanting to come in and tell me about that. And my coworker was talking about it, and everybody at the office, oh, this lady's
Wow.
feet, and they were black, and they're going to cut them off.
Why?
And that made me feel very, very uncomfortable. But who
Yes.
wouldn't be uncomfortable with that? That's kind of an
Right. Yeah,
uncomfortable.
but some things have a excessive significance to us, and they grab a hold of us, and then they kind of become with the wiring they be through that emphasis. So yes, we'd all be weirded out, but sometimes the things just tend to connect in that particular way that tends to have a greater resonance and a great wiring through the emphasis. You know what I mean? So that leaves that impression. So it makes sense. I wanted to say something with Bina and her readings. Venus not doing astrological readings. Yes, she uses it as a mechanism. It's a stimulus mechanism, but Venus an intuitive.
Yeah, I know.
So, and that's what's happening. She's using the astrology to connect to what comes to her, and this is powerful. And I really, really think that what you said, because you too, Bina, Donna, are an intuitive. You have it also. We all have it. Just some to we are more connected to it or not. Venus had this connectivity to a greater extent for most of our life, but it is it's by no means something that we can't all access. But I think that you are counter feeling some of the stuff for her. So I'll mention this with her. It'll be very interesting. I want. I'm here for another 3/4 hour, and then I'm going to go to the library because they open till 8 today. So in case Bina wakes up early, which I doubt because she went to bed late. But in case I'll be around. So this
Well,
is
the
very
reading was just the old story. The reading was connected to
yes,
a lot of it
yes,
was good. It was, about, and I feel very strongly that there is a huge shift
yeah,
and the reclaiming it for me is a good word. I resonate with that.
yes,
Will be
yes.
the year I reclaim my power and
Right,
everything is going to shift into place. So that's how it started, but then she got to a certain part in the reading, and then it was all about the old story. And
right, right.
just like Bear said, the emotions and the tears weren't connected to the old story; they were connected to Bina's tears and her feeling uncomfortable as she was offering.
Wow.
And it was almost like
Yeah,
if
yeah,
there was a situation that was traumatic that involved my physical being, it was almost like she went there and experienced
yeah,
it and
yeah,
saw what happened.
yeah. And I said to her,
And I
yeah.
had total tears for her
Oh,
because I didn't want her to feel that way.
it's
And so
it's good.
I
It's
just
good.
wanted the reading to end.
Her feeling that way is good. It's good. Why? Because like you, Venus very sensitive. Like me, I'm very sensitive with emotional feeling. It may not seem like that, but I am. I feel others very deeply, very acutely. But I have to learn to not be overwhelmed by what I feel. I have to
Yeah.
learn to feel out there and what the feeling is there, and to not make that feeling my own, and not to become immersed in it, not to become enveloped in it, not to become overwhelmed with it. This all of us need to learn.
Right.
To
Yep.
say just because I feel it doesn't make it my own. I can
Well,
feel it.
it didn't feel like my own, that's for sure.
Right.
I felt Dina.
Exactly. To realize though that it isn't. And when we do realize it isn't, we can feel it, we still experience it, we still have that emotion, but it doesn't overtake us and it doesn't change us, it doesn't last,
Oh,
it doesn't
right.
affect us.
It didn't last. What was really strange
Right.
was I wanted the reading to end because it seemed to overwhelm Bina. That's just my sense. That's how I felt. I felt her suffering. I felt like she went to the situation, maybe one of the situations that were real and traumatic.
Yeah,
I don't know.
yeah, yeah.
She was like there, and I felt for her, but not me. And then, like, I still had tears, but I was smiling. It was
Yeah, brilliant. Also, the experience is also, it just and it is the sharing of the profound love that Bina feels for you and you feel for Bina. So it's just very magical. you know. She cares deeply about you, as you do about her. It's magical, very magical. So there's a
so.
lot of that too.
So when she intuitive and she was doing the reading, and you had mentioned earlier, um, I have asked the universe if that stuff was real or not in the past,
Right,
and for
right.
some reason it didn't matter. It doesn't really matter anymore.
No, but you asked the question and you never canceled the question.
Oh, so
Oh,
so basically,
oh,
going there to the reading, that answered it. It was real. Those things did happen.
exactly. That's a very big oh. So I want to go back to that moment. We set intents, but we don't always cancel those intents when they no longer matter.
So how do you cancel them? I don't know how.
Well, just say, hey, cancel my intent. That's it. I don't need to. I asked before whether this matters. I don't need to anymore. So if I had an intent to find the answer to this, I don't need to know anymore. It doesn't matter. Whether it's real or not, it's irrelevant. Cancel any intent to find out if it was real. Because
Yeah,
when we came up in our conversations, you were profoundly earnest about knowing whether or not this was real or not.
I felt a very strong belief that I couldn't release it if I didn't know the facts.
Right, right. But the key was your earnest, deep, sincere intent.
I
You
got you.
really wanted to know the answer to that question,
Right.
right? And okay, you evolved and changed where it no longer became necessary, but the intent was still out there. And of course, the world is a slow magic to intent, because we're asking the entire world to rearrange itself in order to give us our answer. So these things take time. But okay, if it comes a little late, so what? Appreciate the fact that and be aware that hey, my intent did actually manifest. I did get my answer. Yay! Which means I have that power to do that. See, so just kind of take that away from it and realize too that when we do set intents, that if they no longer matter, it does help to say, okay, I cancel this intent and I don't no longer need to just to be conscious and specific and deliberate, just to be tidy. Again, nothing pending.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I can't think, I'm sure you probably, if you asked me questions, could come up. I literally reflected on that, and I don't have a lot
No,
pending.
no, you don't.
I just
You
sort of glide through life right
yes.
now.
You right now, when we met, you had a lot of stuff pending. 2 weeks ago, you had stuff pending. Now, no. It's really magical, Donna. It is really magical. You are in the space that we are all trying to get to be. Nothing pending, joy, energy, magic, all of this open. Yes, perhaps we'll get onto
I'll share
paths, but you're
I'll
in that
share you
openness.
something that would benefit the group probably. So I went to and sat at a bar by myself on Friday night. I was waiting
Wow.
on, it's not within my comfort zone. And I've
Wow.
been doing things outside of my comfort zone to stretch myself. So
Yeah.
I was sitting there and there was no intent of anything other than, okay, this is something that you had a conventional thought about. And
Yeah. Yeah.
women at a bar and what all that means. You're alone. It's Friday night. I thought that's a bunch of baloney. I'm just going. So I
Exactly.
did.
Good for
And
you.
I sat there and this man came up, and he sat down like two stools next to me,
Yeah.
and he told the waitress, I'm just here to order to go. And then she's like, okay, well, I'll get the menu. And then I was sitting there, and he looks over and smiles, and I smile back, blah blah blah. And then he's like, oh, I changed my mind, I'm gonna stay. So he stays, and he gets a drink, and then he starts talking to me, and I was enjoying the conversation. He was a high school coach, this and that. And so then Steve's ex-wife, well, they weren't married. The woman that he was involved in, Steve and my neighbor,
Yeah.
she comes up to me and gives me a big hug. She just happens to be there, which is not happenstance either. So she said it was good to see you, blah blah blah. And then I'm sitting there waiting for my daughter, and the guy continues talking, and when she comes up, she like looks over at him.
Your daughter now.
No.
The ex.
The wife, yeah, Josh. But she and I connect profoundly too.
Wow.
I think she's really, really a very cool person.
Wow.
So my daughter comes, and I get up and I give her a hug, and she sits down, and so I'm talking to my daughter, and I'm sort of now focused on her. And the guy that was sitting next to me, when I turned to say goodbye to Jill, which was looking in his direction, then he says, well, I want to talk. I want some healing too.
Wow.
So that's what I was talking.
So that's now it makes sense what he said, because obviously your conversation with Jill and Paige, by implication and intent, and in reading that implication, said these are healing conversations, and he wants to be a part of it. Now it makes total sense. Now it's not a random anomaly. Now it's just like, well, duh, it's very logical, very obvious. You might not realize how much your conversations are geared towards healing. But
it was Amanda. It was my oldest daughter. And Jill invited us to her lake house. Well, Jill is the woman that Stephen had, Maggie, my beautiful Maggie, my neighbor, my beautiful Maggie. And they were together 10 years. And a lot of things that I intend show up in her world.
Right. Do me a favor, unless you already have, but if you haven't, ask Jill why she and Steve transitioned. Why she's.
Oh, I already know why.
Okay, what does Jill say? Not why Steve says, but what does Jill say?
Oh, she was on a spiritual path, and he was not.
That's what I felt. That's exactly why I wanted to ask the question. Is precisely what I felt. Very interesting.
Yep. And after they stopped being together, it was interesting because then he started on a path. So anyway, so she invited Amanda and I to her lake house, because part of what I would really enjoy, and I've shared with you, is having a house. And that was part of the reading Vina did too. My beautiful.
Ask for the water, she told me.
Yes. Well, Jill has that house. It's on water, and yeah, it's a big old house. And so she invites us there, and she's like, you guys need to come. And I'm thinking, no, I'm going to have my own house.
Yeah, but you are going. You are going. You're going to go to Jill's house, yes? I mean, you're going to take her up on the invitation. Oh, please do. Please do. Please do. It's very important. It's very important. These are gifts from the universe. This is a profound thing, Donna. I don't know. It's just really necessary to me that, this is like, you have this, and there's an intent, there's a connectivity. You like her. It's like, man, you're going to see that house. It's one step closer to it being your house.
Right.
Oh, it's very important to go. Very important to go. Plus, just for the sheer joy of it.
Right.
Force of circumstance. How can you say no, really, to this?
Oh, I could.
I know, but doesn't it seem kind of like, from a universe attunement point of view, doesn't it seem kind of churlish to say no a little bit?
See, I honestly,
You see it as that free?
What?
Do you see the choice to go or not go as that free? I mean, yes, it's always a free choice, but sometimes there's a little bit of bias there.
That's where like my attunements, like I look at her and she has the house, and we went on a vacation. Well, let me backtrack. Her son had an event and we all showed up for it, and it was my house. It was my house that we stayed at. My vision of my house, that's where we were. It was like so close to my house on the water, blah, 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 that I have people come and we talk about universal things and things that matter. And it's not the house, it's what the house will allow me to do.
Yes, I know, I know. You know, Donna, sometimes our intents, they manifest they manifest. We get what we want, but not quite always in the way that precisely that we want it. It's like the universe says, look, you know, I did my best. There you go. So let me put it this way. Take this house of Jill's. You go there. And this is a vacation house, right? Or a second house.
Yeah.
Right. Now, what if you explain this to her and say, look, this is my vision? I'm just saying, just for argument's sake. And Jill said, you know what? You can use it anytime you like. All right. So now you get the use of the house. You get to have those conversations. Okay, maybe it's on the weekends because, well, obviously by default you can't go all the time because you're working and all this is not practical. But you have the usage of it. Now, what was important? Owning the house or the usage?
No, I just want the space, however it comes.
That's my point. That's my point. You see what I'm saying?
I gotcha. Yeah, I'm working through not getting, like, I'm working through understanding that where you can immediately see the attunement of things. I'm still trying to work through how come the house is showing up at Jill's and not in my world?
It's to look at it in the abstract. The house is showing up in your world. The house that you envisaged is showing up in your world. It's just showing up as with Joe being the owner. All right, now think of it this way. If you had use of that house without the onus of ownership, isn't that an even better resolution? It's the usage that you were after, the connectivity, the space, the connecting to people, the learning, the growing, not the owning of the house that was important, right?
Right.
The key element. So share your vision with Jill, and I'll bet you anything that some sort of a thing will work out. Say, hey, I want to invite spiritual people. I want to invite man alive. This is Jill's spiritual. She's gonna be. Oh yeah, let's do it. Let's do it. See what I'm trying to say? You can get the underlying abstract intent of your vision satisfied. The universe is saying, Donna, but what did you really want? You wanted a space where you can connect with people. Yes, somebody who's spiritual who's got the space. You don't even have to go through the hassle of owning it and all that crap. No, you can get what you really want in an easy, quick, simple way. Your house has shown up.
Mm-hmm.
Your intent.
You see those things. I need assistance seeing them sometimes.
Right. It's just because I have practice in looking at it from an abstract overview perspective. It'll come. You're already starting to do it more and more. It's just habit. That's all it is. We get what we want, but not quite always in the way that we originally imagined it. Why? Because our imaginations are pretty small and limited for the most part.
So do you see that in your circumstance right now with your transition?
All the time. Yeah.
No, I mean specifically now.
Specifically right now. Well, I think for me, what I see specifically right now is the intent to be free and open with nothing pending. How much more free and open with nothing pending can I be?
Yeah, that's for sure.
Right. So, in that sense, it's quite magical. And also just the exact. Did I already show you where I'm at right now?
No. Where are you? Starbucks?
No, this is a different coffee shop. It's called the Gathering Place, and it's a Christian.
The Gathering Place. That's where I volunteer.
where I'm at. So pretty cool,
That's
yeah.
cool.
There we go. Neighbors saying hello. You like that, Donna? It's pretty cool. Can you see okay? I can't see
I
what I'm
can.
showing.
Yeah.
I don't know if I've got the right angle. There we go. All right, thank you. Brilliant. And it's a Christian run coffee shop. So yeah,
Nice.
very interesting.
Did you hear? That's the place I volunteer at. It's
I
called the
heard that.
Gathering
I was just
Place.
about to ask more. I just wanted to show you the sofa. Comfort. It's very important to me.
Comfy sofa.
Oh, it's huge. I mean, I was sitting at the library, the relatively comfortable chair, but it's just a regular chair. It's got some padding on it, but it's to sit more than an hour or two. It's not comfortable.
Right.
So this I can sit. They only open 6 to 12 Tuesday to Saturday, so they close Sundays and Mondays, and then only 12 to 6. So, but nonetheless, I can sit here with 6 hours, no problem. Very comfortably. So it's important. Plus free coffee, so that's also a bonus. I mean, I don't have to have the coffee, but it does make a difference for me. I mean, when I'm at home, I that's what I drink. I don't drink water. I just drink coffee. That's it. And hot chocolate. Really, I switched
You're
that.
doing you're doing okay. You don't need anything.
Now, thank you. If I do, Donna, if I really, really need, and I'll start. Like today, I helped this friend out, and she needed help with her resume. When I came from the library to here, because they only open at 12, so library or they're 10 to 12. So I wanted to speak and connect. Anyway, so I was going to get back on with Sher because we were talking there, and I said, let me move to here. But then I couldn't because this friend, and she'd helped us. She'd helped Olivia a lot. So she said, I really need help with my resume. She's going to a job fair. So, I diverted and helped that. And she said, I'll pay you. Man, alive, I can't take the payment from this. I said, look, if I need a coffee, like, cause she hangs out at Starbucks a lot. I don't know, she sort of, Starbucks is her office and she worked here. Anyway, I said, no, you just buy me a coffee every now and then. If I really need something, I'll just ask. I'm pretty cool. I really don't need anything. So, I'm really easy like that. Pretty easy. But I will, if I do, I will ask. Thank you. I mean, I really appreciate that, Donna. It's huge. It's huge. But no, other than that, I got plenty to eat. I got a place to sleep.
You cut your beard.
No, no, no. I just tucked it in. It's just.
Are they still there? Oh, they are. I thought you cut them off.
No, no. It just came about by accident. I don't know how come when I put this particular vest on, it just inside, and so I just thought, I'll just leave it. None of them here have seen the long beard. So it just because I'm a little bit more visible right now. I'm already pretty noticeable, as it were, but the long beard makes it distinctive and memorable as opposed to just noticeable. So it's part of my keeping a low profile. So I said, okay, universe, I'll just keep it, leave it that way. So very simple. So they all call me sir, yeah. Not all, but most. I say hello. I greet them by name. Say hello, sir. Who knows? Donna. So just intriguing. Intriguing to me, peculiarities of the universe. Let's put it that way. So I've just, it's part of that openness and nothing pending. That is the name. It's important, that there's not that connectivity. So I didn't specifically set out to not introduce myself, but nobody asked, and I just hear their names. I pick them up from the conversation. So, and I acknowledge, but I'm sort of part of the community, a little bitty, but not. I'm separate. It is again that pending thing. So I'm paying attention to this because I don't wish to necessarily identify. This I don't. It's not. It's not a longer term solution. It's not a particular community that's of exact resonance. So I'm paying attention. Paying attention. So it's good. It just leaves me in a space where I'm essentially pretty, even though I'm visible and people they don't seek me out, they don't connect to me, I don't have to speak, I don't have to interact. There's no building friendships, none of the stuff. I can come and go. If I don't come, nobody's gonna. Oh, no problem. So I have no attachments, no nothing pending. It's very cool. Very cool. And it's difficult to be in situations where we have nothing pending and no connectivity. It's not easy. We inadvertently make connections no matter what we do. Huh? You know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
So it's so quick and so easy, to do so. I mean, look, you went to that bar and suddenly you connected with Jill and the guy talking to you. You know. Now you may not have shared your name and all of that with the guy, but with Jill, you got
I
invited
still
somewhere.
don't get why the guy said that.
Oh, because he took it by implication. Because I would assume the way and how and what you spoke to Jill and Amanda about it was healing conversations. They were resolved about healing. What did you speak about exactly? Do you remember the exact conversation with Jill and Amanda?
I mean, they didn't say much. I just introduced him for the first time. I said who.
Oh, you
I
introduced
just.
Jill and Amanda.
Uh-huh.
Oh wow! And then what happened? You must have said something more. Go through the exact conversation.
I thanked her for the Christmas gifts. I said it was really good to see her. She talked about, she wanted to share with me how Miss Maggie, who's 10, she's actually a very powerful manifester.
Interesting.
And she wanted to share with me a manifestation that Miss Maggie wanted. She told me that Maggie wanted to go get her hair done. So she took a picture of her and I together to send to Maggie to say, hey, I'm with one of your favorite people. It's all good. I'm gonna come and do your hair. And her hair, she was gonna color it purple because Maggie and I talked about coloring her hair purple. So
Wow.
Joe was, oh, little Maggie wants to do her hair purple, and I giggled because I was thinking, yeah, I know, I planted that seed. So there was that, and then I said, yeah, Maggie said something about you guys got a house. And she's like, oh, yeah, the lake house. You guys definitely got to come up anytime. And, we're going to be using it off and on, but you definitely, she made a point of like really being like, you definitely have to come to this place.
The
And then she,
emphasis is how you know from the universe. She emphasized more than was necessary. Yes?
mhm,
There you go.
yeah.
There's your
And I
attunement clue.
emphasized with her that it was good to see her because I
Wow.
didn't get to see her at
And then
Christmas.
and then what did you say to Amanda? That's the key part.
Nothing. I just said that Joe was really nice. When she walked away, she goes, oh, that's Maggie's mom. And I said, yeah, she's really nice. I really like her. And she's like, oh, that's really cool.
And what else did you say?
That was it.
Yeah, okay. Then from that conversation, unless there's something that you've forgotten, and that is a little bit anomalous that he wants healing too. But he must have in some way picked up that that Jill is the ex, and Maggie's a different one, and something of that nature. Because
Well, Amanda did say, well, that's good when you can get along with the ex because
there you go.
I didn't get along with Brian's
There you
second
go.
wife at all.
See, just that one comment, just that one simple little comment is enough for him to say, "I want healing too." But I'll bet you anything he's going through a divorce, or just has gone through a divorce or breakup.
Oh,
I'll
wow.
bet you
That
anything.
up?
That's the connectivity. It's pertinence and relevance. You see. So now you say, "Oh, I want healing too," because I heard that you're getting along with the ex. Wow, this is possible. Ah, he's going through a situation. There's exes involved. He wants that same. He's probably got a similar situation. I'll bet you
Oh my
anything.
gosh, that's it. Because then
Wow.
today, my coworker said the exact same thing to me
Wow.
about her ex and not getting along with them and da da da.
And there you go. You see, the universe gave you your answer to that question. You see how you get answers to your questions. It is
Yeah, but I don't know. Get it
unbelievable
until I
to me.
talk to you.
Well, that's why I have relevance. You make me feel useful. So otherwise, what the hell do I do?
See, I
You-
would have seen that. I would not have connected that.
Right. But this is the magic of perspective, Donna. This is why we interact and share and talk about stuff. And do me one favor, you got to stop asking me if you can share stuff. Just bloody share it. I want to hear all your stuff, every single detail. You couldn't share enough. There's no way you could share too much for me. I am insatiably curious, and I want to know all the details. You got to be careful though if you start this, because then I want more. So please share, share, share. Really and truly, Donna, it is a great
Well,
gift
this
for me.
stuff, it happens a lot, and I have a gut feeling like, here we go again, but I just can't always connect the dots to see
Right.
the relevance.
But you know what? There's never this repetition that you seem to feel. Never. It's always fresh and exciting and magical to me. Always. So please share, 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 share. More detail, not less. There's no such thing as too much detail for me, or TMI in our case. No way at all. No, 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 no. Not possible. Not
Well, in my conversation with Barb, she did ask me, I was talking about her partner is an equivalent of Brian, my ex. And
right.
he has a lot of anger and resentment and hatred, or that's what she was expressing. And then
Hmm.
I said, you you will get to a point where you will see that he's he's not all the perspective you feel right now. There is good in him. And she's like, oh, I don't
Yes.
get there. And I said, no, there's good
Yeah.
in all of us. And she goes, oh, okay, well, do you see good in your ex? And I said, I do. And she goes,
All
could
right.
you send him love right now? You love your ex. And I said, I do. Yeah, I get that.
Donna, instead of saying there's good in him, just simply tweak one little word very, very slightly. There's misguided good in them.
Okay, yeah. Well, I mean, I felt like, yeah.
I know for Bob, in that context of that conversation, right?
Oh, okay.
Right.
What you're saying.
You know there is actual good, right? But you can't hear it when you're in her space. But if somebody say, "Oh, there's misguided good," oh yeah, you know what? Okay, I can see that, because in his cockeyed way, he thinks being a bully is good. See, that's what I mean by they can get
Oh,
it.
okay,
They
yeah.
can start. It's a start. Then they start to shift, and oh, it's just a start. You're starting the chain reaction. A simple thing, but just
She said I was very healing.
who did
She
Bob?
said Barb said I was very healing, that I offered her perspective 2 years ago that she had never thought of, and she told me what I had said, and it was just like this one sentence, and it made a profound difference in her life. And then I gave her a hug goodbye, and she goes, man, I feel like I've just been infused with such a warm light right
Yes,
now.
yes. All
That
right.
was the best hug ever.
All right, so let me ask you this. When Bob said this, that about you and being healing and the hug, this was a big deal for you, yes?
Well, I just keep hearing it lately.
Right. Now, is it any surprise to you that the bar guy picked up on this and used the word healing, because you are putting this out? Because if you notice the pattern, right? The pattern is stuff that connects to you, that resonates, that has importance, that leverages, like, wow, that sinks in with you, that sits with you, right? This comes out in your world. In other words, what you pay profound, deep attention to is what the manifestation is. When Bob said you are healing, and it was a big deal for her that your hug, this sat, because you mentioned it to me, it sat with you. It was profound. It was important. It was significant. It was emphasized in your brain, in other words, right? There was the wiring was changed. Of course, the guy's going to pick up on it, particularly in the context of the conversation or the relevance and the pertinence. But he said healing. He didn't say, I want resolution, I want peace, I want friend to be with my ex. He used the word healing specifically. You see the connectivity of the pattern here. It's a pattern
Mhm.
of emphasis. What's important to you, what's manifested, what's emphasized within you, comes out in the world. Every single time. The world is a description, and Donna is doing the describing.
Well, we all are.
Yes. So, two things, Donna. We all are, yes. But some of us have more power and potency than others. And some of us can make a difference on others also. And if for you and Bina, you have a profound influence on my life for whatever reason, right? So, in terms of what Bina was saying about second chances, she was saying very profoundly that this is an opportunity and a time for, remember, she used the word second winners, right?
Mhm.
And I was talking about the lottery thing and how that was a second winner which wasn't claimed. So the lotteries. I don't know if it's the same there by you, but here they go Saturdays and Wednesdays. What's the date next Wednesday? You see where I'm going with this, right? It's all connected. So next Wednesday is a very big day. We always thought it was January 15 was the big day. It's actually January the 12th, but for whatever reason, it's January the 15th for us, right? So January 15th, second chance day, Donna's birthday, conjunction, alignment, all the stuff, everything. So I'm going to be getting some lottery tickets again. But not only that, your intent when you asked me, do I need anything? Yes, I need a place to stay. But what I need is like your house. I need the right place to stay.
Right.
Right. The right place to stay is also connecting to the right people. Now, you started reading The Alchemist yet or not yet? Have you done? You read it already?
I don't know that I feel like I started to read this like a long time
Good,
ago.
but reread it. Reread the whole book because I want to talk to you. Oh, good. Okay. Next time we chat, I want to talk about the book, and particularly with Bina. This is important. It's very, very important. I have to go, Donna.
Spiritual alchemy.
Right. But just read the book. You'll see it is very intimately connected to the young man's story. Because
I can see that already.
Right. They call him the boy there, right? He's only mentioned the name Santiago only in the beginning once, but he's the boy. Yeah. Now, in my story, I refer to myself as the young man and the young man in his heart. Now, you'll see all of the relevance in this. It is an amazing overlap here. But I wanted to make this point about intent. And part of that story is represented in an intent that Olivia and I had a very profound, specific intent. And it comes now, again, that didn't quite manifest, sort of, second chances again. You'll see what I'm talking about. So, but again, just finish reading the book. It's a quick read. So it's important, Donna. It's important. And it's very exciting too. It's very exciting in terms of us describing our world, us changing circumstances, intense manifesting, second chances, things coming right, things falling into place, all of this, magic upon magic. I'm keen to talk about it, but read the book and we'll chat about it. All right? You'll see. It's very exciting stuff. Very exciting stuff. It's all connected. All connected. All connected. I'm just keen to have that conversation, and so is Donna, Bina. This is a conversation that we will have together, and maybe like on Friday morning or Saturday morning. When we can be together.
Friday morning.
Yeah, because that's always a good time. We always tend to find together time then on Friday morning. So I love that. I look forward to Friday mornings always. It's so special.
I'll try and have it read by Friday.
Okay, it's a short book. It's a quick read.
It is.
It's a quick read. So you'll got plenty of time. So yeah, you will do. So okay. I gotta go. I love it. Love you too, Donna. Really, you just really, man, huge in my heart. So okay. Bye bye, Donna. Bye bye. Okay, and meeting.